Welcome to the New York Jets Live Podcast. For fans, by fans.
22 punch!
Here's your host, hardcore fan, Chili the Beast. Jets. Jets.
Yo, what's good, everyone? This is Chili the Beast for the New York Jets Live Podcast by fans, for fans, and welcome back to our newest edition of the New York Jets Live Podcast, the big Week 2 win over the Indianapolis Colts. That's right, guys. If you don't know what to talk about, I don't know what you're up to, but Jets win Monday Night Football 20-7. Yes, the Jets, the undefeated New York Jets, our undefeated New York Jets, are now 2-0, heading into back home to MetLife Stadium to take on the Philadelphia Eagles, guys. It's a very winnable game, but we're going to get way into that later on. We're going to dig deep today. We got a great podcast coming with you. I'm flying solo. Money Brian Martin's unavailable today, so I'm getting this pod done mid-afternoon on a Wednesday. And big news just broke. Big news, whatever. We all knew this was going to happen, but my boy, my best friend, I wish, the number 24 god himself, Darrelle Revis, Revis Island, AFC Defensive Player of the Week award. I mean, guys, this was just announced. This is 11 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday. This was just announced. This is awesome. 3 total turnovers in this last game, 2 fumble recoveries, a big pick, the shutdown of T.Y. Hilton, Andre Johnson. I mean, it's Darrelle Revis. It's Darrelle Revis, guys. It is what it is. He's the greatest. He's the GOAT. He's the god. It is him. It's the 24, number 24, Revis Island, and obviously the Colts. They're in the middle of the country, Midwest, United States of America, but somehow they find their way surrounded by water when you're getting covered by that man. So, guys, we're moving on right away. I mean, you guys watched it. Monday Night Football, New York Jets. And they come out to win. And this happened last year or 2 years ago. I remember we went to Atlanta, came out with a big win. No one was expecting us coming into this game versus the Colts, 7-point underdogs. Brian and I, we gave you guys the formula to win. Todd Bowles must have been listening. Or maybe he just knew it himself because he's a freaking genius. But he's got to be like, I mean, I know it's only week 2, but he keeps his pace up. We get a handful of wins under our belt here. I mean, he's got to be in Coach of the Year. Talk at this point, because I mean, from what we were last year to now, but in the past we were saying, Rex would have built this game up to be like a regular season Super Bowl. How we're going to come in there and kick their butts. We would have came out flat, kind of like how they played the other day in Buffalo versus New England. But this is a whole different culture. This is a whole different planet we're on right now with Coach Todd Bowles here, and he takes it on a single game approach, one game at a time. Hey, we're 2-0. Yeah, it feels great and stuff like that, but I mean, just awesome to feel this way. And again, the breath of fresh air with what's going on with the New York Jets, the way they're coming to play. Our defense is stacked. Our offense is doing things. And we have a lot to talk about today, guys. So we're going to just keep moving on to the show. I mean, obviously, we're going to recap the game real quick. The Jets come out. We take an early lead with a Decker touchdown. Fitz is like surgical down the field, dinking and dunking, finding the open receiver, not being very, very, I should say this, he's being very careful with the ball, but, it looks like the Colts are playing a soft zone defense, and our guys are just turning around in these zones, making these button hooks and these post routes and these flat routes and getting on it. And I was very impressed with the Colts defense. I got to give them a lot of credit, guys. I talked them down. I was really not too impressed with who they had playing, but they came out and they knew that they had to stop our run. They had to stop our run game. And they did. And they did everything possible to stop our run. And Ivory and Powell, they combined for 69 yards rushing. I mean, you add a little bit of Ryan Fitzpatrick's rushings. And Ivory had a long game of 19. So it wasn't anything like, I mean, it wasn't a great rushing attack by the New York Jets, and we were a lot better than that, but they did everything to stop it. But unfortunately, we now have a passing game. And with Ryan Fitzmagic, Eric Decker, and Brandon the Machine Marshall, the uncoverable man, Brandon Marshall. I mean, we just adjusted. He just came out and threw the ball. And we set the run later on in the game in that fourth quarter when they didn't want to tackle Ivory anymore. And that's the biggest thing that Brian always says. You feed Ivory the ball, and then you keep giving the ball because in that fourth quarter, no one wants to tackle that guy, ever. No one's going to want to tackle him. I mean, geez, you see how hard he runs. And Powell comes in with his burst of speed, change up pace, and, it's on. It's great. It's good to see. And, it wasn't like, it wasn't how we expected the game. I figured they'd do a lot of ball control offense and keep Luck off the field. But I'll tell you what, guys, our defense, oh my gosh. But we're going to keep going. So, we're up 7-0. We go. Nick Folk hits another 35-yard field goal, and then after a late turnover right before the second half, the first half ends, we get an opportunity for Nick Folk to make a really long field goal, I think a 52-yarder, but he misses it. We would have up 13-0, and I pretty much that first half was just us getting on the field, getting our opening, that first touchdown, the field goal, and then just beating the shit out of Andrew Luck. I mean, they had a couple of turnovers in that. We weren't able to capitalize, but, it was unfortunate because Fitzpatrick was so on. His numbers for the day were 22 for 34 for 244, a touchdown, and a pick. And the pick really wasn't like, totally his fault. It wasn't a terrible throw or anything like that. But I think he was really on point. But you started seeing that, he was playing with the lead at this point, and he started, taking more chances, throwing into triple coverage, throwing into, the unopened guy, trying to force the ball into places. And I really didn't like that too much because he had something going. He just started getting, that gunslinger mentality, like we call it, and started going there with it. But then we came out in the second half, and the Colts, they go on a long drive, man. I think it was like a 90-yard drive or something like that. They get down to the 1-yard line. It looks like they're going to score. It looks like, oh, shit, same old Jets sitting here and doing our shit. And then here we go. Revis, my boy, comes up. Boom, bam. Hits Gore at the 1-yard line. Forced the freaking fumble. Recovers the freaking fumble. And here we go. Jets take it down, We couldn't capitalize on that. And, it's still only 10-0 at this point. But, here we go. The Jets defense coming up huge, and bailing the offense out. I mean, we had a ton of turnovers in this game too, man. I don't even know what it exactly was, but Revis was responsible for 3 himself. Oh, then we have a Calvin Pryor interception and a Marcus Gilchrist interception in this game. So you're talking 3, 4, 5 turnovers again in this game. I mean, it's just amazing. It was so good to see that and everything like that. But anyway, the Colts finally score early into the fourth quarter. A very impressive drive. Dante Moncrief, he was their best player on the field on that night. He went for 7 for 122 and a touchdown. His long was 30. But still a pretty impressive night against our defense. They didn't match him on Revis. The catches weren't on him. It was Cromartie and in the slot and stuff like that. But, his own defense, we're playing a little conservative at this point. Our offense wasn't really doing much either. We looked like we played a little conservative. We did a couple of 3-and-outs and then a little bit of, like we talked about, forced balls with Fitzpatrick. And, guys, I'm everywhere right now. I know. I'm not, really following the game flow. But I'm still super excited on a Wednesday, man. I get that smile from ear to ear. But, the Jets got a little bit too conservative for me. It looked like we went into, Herm Edwards type ball, get that 3-0 lead and let's run the clock out type deal. But it wasn't like that. They score, and the Jets just, the composure of Ryan Fitzpatrick being a veteran, the non-pressure, because the score's only 10-7 at this point. And I'm like, geez, man, the Colts are right back in this thing, and 10 points is not enough to be up on Andrew Luck and this dynamic offense that they have just to sit on 10. And it's just like, a veteran quarterback, the veteran presence of this team, with your Deckers and your Marshalls and Ivory now and our veteran offensive line. Like, guys, we've been here before. Let's just take it down the field. And they did. They just marched straight down the field, and they just took advantage. I mean, Vontae Davis, for what it's worth, he was on Marshall throughout the game. He was giving Marshall a little bit of fits, but Marshall is fucking uncoverable, guys. I mean, he was working on Vontae Davis. I mean, we're talking, he forced like 3 or 4 penalties in this game, like 2 on Davis and 2 on their backups. When he goes out of the game, we later found out that Eric Decker and Chris Iwasu had some type of injury and they were playing through it, and then Decker wound up not playing the end of the fourth quarter. But it was just Marshall time. Absolute Marshall time. I mean, he is dynamic. He catches the touchdown pass. They're holding him on the play, right? They're holding him on the freaking play. Then he catches the ball in pass interference at this point, also with on top of the hold, and scores a touchdown, carrying 4 guys into the end zone. I mean, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to see that. Like we said last week, we finally had that guy that we could go and throw the ball to. Brandon Marshall, 7 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Eric Decker, 8 receptions, 97 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, and other than that, we have Bilal with 4 catches for 16 yards. Nothing crazy out of there, but Bilal is a very big part of our passing game. And then one other catch is Quincy Enunwa. And Quincy Enunwa, I mean, yeah, he's our H-back. He's like our technically tight end, but he's still a receiver. He's got to catch the ball. He had 1 catch, 27 yards, but his catch was huge. It was in a pivotal point of the game where we needed to get down there, and it set up a score for us. But he had 2 bad drops earlier in the game that, I'm surprised Fitzpatrick went back to him. But at that point, he was open. He caught the ball on a slant route, and I'm very happy to see, Fitzpatrick spreading that ball out, but not too much. I mean, obviously the main targets and receptions going to Marshall and Decker, which I don't have a problem with. Tight ends in this game, not another target unless you consider Enunwa with 3 targets and a catch. But Chris Uwasu targeted a handful of times, stretching the field, unable to come up with a catch. And, it is what it is right now. It's working, and I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with it. But towards the end of that game, we have Folk. He ices the game with a 20-yard, ices the game to 20 with a field goal at the end. And I'll tell you what, guys, we're going to talk about this defense right now. I mean, Maroon, it was absolutely amazing. Just hitting Andrew Luck. Believe it or not, and I know you guys watched this game, if I could tell you right now the Jets had 0 sacks on Andrew Luck, you guys would be baffled, right? I could not believe the stat line that they had 0 sacks on him. But he had plays where he ran, and ran out of the pocket and made a half-yard gain or something like that. But 0 sacks. But they hit him I think he was on the ground 21 different plays or something like that. And Andrew Luck's a big dude. He is a big dude, and he's very athletic and he play physical. So there was times, he's not Big Ben or anything like that, but there was times that we had 2 guys on him and he was able to shake it off. Or I knew he threw an intentional grounding, I think twice in the game, and threw the ball away many, many times. But we hit him and hit him and hit him. And all 3 of his picks that he threw, he was hit on, forcing the ball down the field, forcing the ball into places he couldn't get to or he couldn't get some strength on. He also fumbled in the game too. Guys, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, Gruden's grinder for the day, for the night, Buster Screen. I mean, awesome game. I mean, we know Buster Screen. He is he lacks what we like to call height, because I'm in the same boat as Buster Screen, being the 5'6", 5'7" guy. And but I'm telling you, 7 tackles and assist. I mean, blitzing off the edge, forcing Angelo to throw multiple times. I mean, he had 3 or 4 quarterback hurries, which was amazing to see, because hey, he's reminding me of the Honey Badger, Tyrone Matthew, who was out in Arizona with Todd Bowles. And that's the kind of what he's playing right now for our New York Jets. And it looks so awesome. David Hitman Harris, a forced fumble. Revis with the recovery, 6 tackles again. Demario Davis, 4 tackles, 2 assists. I mean, the stat line is just great right now with these guys. Calvin Pryor, a big pick in coverage, just playing deep and doing his responsibility. Same thing with Marcus Gilchrist, just sitting back there, playing the free safety role, and then having to come into man coverage and break off of where he was at in his zone and come over and cover that open man and just come out of nowhere with the pick. It's good things. We saw things like Ledger Doolittle playing 60% of the snaps. We're talking about our middle linebackers, Harris and Davis, more or less likely there to spy Luck and the Gore situation. 100% of the defensive snaps never came off the field. I mean, that is awesome. We saw guys like Big Dame Harrison drop back into coverage. Ledger Doolittle on the Calvin Pryor pick. He knocks off Andre Johnson off his route because he's in coverage, which causes Andre Johnson to not be where the ball is supposed to be thrown, which causes the interception. I mean, it was awesome. Mo Wilkerson, unimpressive stat line. I'll tell you right now, 1 tackle, 1 assist. I could not believe his stat line because he was so dominant. I got some notes here from Pro Football Focus. Muhammad Wilkerson is the highest rated 3-4 defensive end in the first 2 weeks. He had the best grade on the team last night for the defensive lineman with 1 tackle and 1 assist because he did so much else. I mean, you're talking triple teams, double teams, quarterback hits, quarterback pressures, rushing, just penetration in general. And Pro Football Focus is really good stat line, guys. But they really break down the game into crazy stats like I just talked about. And Mo Wilkerson, he's in a contract year. He knows that he needs to get paid. He wants to remain a Jet. And I'll tell you what, guys, we talked about this so much. You're going to have to pay this guy a lot more because he's going to play out of his mind this year. And he is already, and he is. Bearing an injury, which I'm knocking on wood for, he is going to be dominant this year. And he is. He is unfreaking blockable. And, guys, we haven't even had Leonard Williams scratch the surface of being a good player at this point. And then Sheldon Richardson is coming back. Do you guys remember Sheldon Richardson? I mean, our defensive line is like ridiculous right now, and Sheldon Richardson is not even playing right now. I am so excited. Oh my God. It's like, and someone even said like D. Milner's not even. I'm like, who? Who's D. Milner at this point? We're playing so good. But Sheldon Richardson, guys, oh my God, he's coming back. But, I mean, other guys, impressive games. Antonio Cromartie comes out after that terrible knee scare that winds up being a sprain. He comes out and plays the game. I mean, I honestly thought that Cromartie was crazy to come out and play. I thought he needed another week. Just take the week off, dude. I know it was a big game, a big opponent, big offense, but hey, man, he comes out, plays with his heart, had a pretty decent game. I mean, it is Crow. He's going to ball hawk. He's going to get beat a handful of times, but that's why we got back-end safeties that are doing things good. Again, I'm impressed with, obviously, Revis, a pick, 2 fumble recoveries, 3 tackles, the forced fumble. I mean, awesome. And then, I like to see a little bit else, too, here. Trevor Riley getting some snaps. Trevor Riley and Legend Juice will take the snaps from Quentin Coples. Quentin Coples is non-existent. I mean, he actually had a sack on Andrew Luck, but they, this no fun league, this put skirts on these dudes and put flags on them. BS, bullshit. I'm going to just say it out loud with these refs and a terrible officiating all night long. I mean, the flags, laundry all over the field all night. It's getting to the point between DraftKings and FanDuel commercials and penalties that it's just like almost unwatchable on a TV set. It's like, unfortunately, I'm not in New York and Jersey, and I can't get to the games and shit like that. I try and get up, once in a while and stuff, and as much time as I actually can to any game, but it's almost unwatchable on TV. It was almost unwatchable. And we're going to hit you back there, because if you guys listen to us on Rabble TV, Rabble.tv, it was an awesome experience that I was able to broadcast that game. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit also. So you remind me, I'll get back to it. But Quentin Coples, besides that one, I mean, a couple of pressures he had on Luck, but nothing crazy because it was like the pocket collapsed and 3 of the guys were in there. But he had an assisted tackle. He had that sack, but they called unnecessary roughness because he went high on Andrew Luck, who ducked. So I think it's an asinine penalty, but he grabbed him around the head. It's bullshit, guys. But you figure he has that sack. But he got snaps taken away from him. Trevor Riley came in the game. Calvin Pace came in the game. Stephen Bowen played a lot in this game. And Ledger Jules will play, like I said, he plays 60% of the snaps because Coples just isn't getting it done. And Riley came in, and he had a big quarterback pressure on Andrew Luck's last interception. And put Andrew Luck in the dirt. And Andrew Luck got up tired, man. He got up slow. He threw his helmet when he came to the sideline. He looked lost. I mean, he looked unprepared for a very smart guy that he is. And was it? I mean, we held Andrew Luck to 21 of 37 for 1 touchdown, 250 yards, and 3 interceptions. I mean, guys, this is Andrew Luck. This is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, I have him like at 2-3 after Rodgers, the douche up north. Ben Roethlisberger and stuff like that, but he's in the upper echelon of quarterbacks with Peyton Manning. I mean, the top 5, and he's young, and he's good. He's going to make mistakes, but we put him in check, man. And that's twice with the Jets playing Andrew Luck like this, and I know we beat him in his rookie year. I was at that game. It was awesome. But, Frank Gore, 57 yards rushing, not much. Andre Johnson, 27 yards. T.Y. Hilton covered his injury, 45 yards. And it just, the net yards of it all was the Jets had 344, and the Colts had 343. Now, the Jets won 20-7, but the Jets had the ball more, and we had short fields because of our turnovers. And that's what happens when you get turnovers. You get short fields. You capitalize on them. You do these things. I mean, you win the game. That's how you win the game. Guys, we have 10 turnovers for the season in 2 games. We had 13 all last year. We have already quadrupled the point total off of turnovers than we had last year. It is awesome. And we're getting Sheldon Richardson back. So, guys, some more notes from this game because it's just crazy. In 2 games, Ryan Fitzpatrick has only been sacked 1 time. one time. That is an amazing stat line because our offensive line did not play good last year. And I was very concerned, and everybody, all you guys were too, because majority of our questions were, what are we going to do at the right guard position? Well, the Jets go out this year, the guard position in general. Jets go out this year, we get James Carpenter, the big free agent from Seattle. James Carpenter, solid player, like the guy. But he comes out, he's solidifying our left guard position. He's playing very well. DeBrickashaw Ferguson, constant pro. Nick Mangold, best center in the league. Brito Giannacamini, he's coming out, he's playing hard. And then we have Willie Colon. And I was really concerned about Willie Colon. I'm like, there's no way he's going to win this spot. There's no way it's going to happen. And he's playing great. He honestly is. He's playing very, very good. 1 sack. And that's credit to Fitz getting rid of the ball. He's limited in mobility, but he's he's mobile enough, and he gives us some options there to get out of the pocket. And he's getting rid of the ball quickly on any single passing throw. And it's just 1 sack, guys, in 2 games. I mean, shit. It's great. It's just a great stat line. Here's another one, too. In 2 games, Fitzpatrick has completed 63.8% of his passes and thrown for 423 yards or 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He has a QB rating of 94.3. Dude, Geno Smith has done that 2 times in his whole entire career. Both of those games versus Miami, the last 2 games of the last 2 seasons. Ryan Fitzpatrick has done it in the first 2 games of the Jets season. Look what happens when you have weapons. Look what happens when I'm not even going to get into this Ryan Fitzpatrick, Geno Smith thing because yesterday Todd Bowles came out and said that Ryan Fitzpatrick is a quarterback even when Geno is healthy, and that is it. That is all he alluded to, and that's it. And we got more talk about that for the New York Jets press conference than from yesterday. Also, the Jets are the first team with 5+ takeaways in each of its first 2 games since the 1992 Steelers. And these are stats I pulled off Twitter from the New York Jets beat writers, Connor Hughes and Brian Costanzo and stuff like that. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see those things. It's just good stuff. We're doing things the right way. So we have some interesting notes from the press conference yesterday. I had these on Facebook. Guys, you follow us on Facebook at New York Jets Life. Just go into search title. We're also on Twitter at Jets Life _ and you guys know me. I'm Chili the Beast, by fans, for fans, New York Jets Life, and I run both of those things, the Facebook and the Twitter. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, just shoot it to me. It's coming right to me, Chili. It's from my phone. I'm mobile with everything. So all right. So big news. Totally forgot to talk about this. Obviously, with Eric Decker injury, he has a sprained knee day to day. Initially came out as a PCL injury. I'm not sure exactly what the sprain is. I'm assuming the PCL, but he's day to day. There is a chance that Eric Decker can play Sunday versus Philly. But the short week, I'm just going to say I bet you he doesn't. Also, Chris Uwasu had some type of leg injury throughout the game. They're not saying much of it, but they're saying he's probably going to miss 2 weeks. And I didn't know anything about it because he finished the game. He played the entire game. So whether it's a deep bruise or something that's making him not be able to run, it is what it is. I'm okay. I'm okay with guys like Devin Smith and Jeremy Curley, who's played 2 offensive snaps in 2 weeks, being our fill-in players. Than I'm a lot more comfortable with that. And I said this on Facebook and Twitter than I am with David Nelson and Clyde Gates. I mean, you talk about Jeremy Curley and our rookie Devin Smith to come in and take snaps. If these guys can't go, you think of the other guys we've had in the past that Mark Sanchez is throwing to and stuff like that, and it just makes it seem okay that. And Walter Powell at the practice squad also a possibility this week, but it makes it's just the Jets are doing what real teams do and getting real players. So it's just nice. Like we talked about, Geno Smith returns to full health. Ryan Fitzpatrick will continue to have all the first team reps. Bull said Curley is not playing because other guys at the position are just playing better. Said guys had the opportunity when Curley was hurt. They stepped up. They're here to play. And that's for everybody that was wondering what the hell the deal was with Jeremy Curley. It's not. He's also said that, as he alluded to, nothing happened off field. Nothing happened on field. The guys are just playing better at practice, played better at practice, and they're a different dynamic to the New York Jets. I mean, it's unfortunate because, like I said, I'm a short guy too, but Curley's not fitting the system based on the height. I mean, you look at the 2 big guys on the outside and playing in the slot position, or wherever they're at, Marshall and Decker, they're 2 6+ guys. Curley's a smaller guy, but And he hasn't really stretched the field as much as you'd think he would be, being smaller and being as fast. And Wasp was stretching that field, but I have a feeling that Curley plays a lot more in this Philly game in base sets, 3 receiver sets. And I think he becomes our 3/4 receiver and he gets a lot of playing time. And this is great for a guy with a veteran like Jeremy Curley to come off the. I don't have a problem with Jeremy Curley. I actually love Jeremy Curley, but I want the players that are going to play and what the coach thinks is going to happen, or who thinks the best players are, to get out there. And I'm okay with Todd Bowles saying that. I mean, if it was like, if you're benching Brandon Marshall, it's a different story. That's Brandon Marshall. But it's Jeremy Curley, guys, and I'm okay with Todd Bowles. All right, so we don't know the severity of Chris Owasu's leg, but we're hearing that it's a possible 2-week injury, which would get us to after the bye week. He would come back healthy, full strength, and I don't have a problem with that. Again, rest the guy if he needs it. Don't force him out there. It's not needed because we have the guys to step up. Same thing with Decker. Bowles says he won't temper the Jets fans from being excited over a 2-0 start, but again, we still have more games to play, and I like it. I like the approach. Again, we talked about that. We like the approach on where he's at. He's just saying, listen, guys, don't get too excited. We got more games to play. Bowles says that Devin Smith didn't play on Monday night because he was not ready yet, and he has to learn some plays and get in better game shape. Okay, but he did indicate that he hopes Smith will play this week, but we'll see, he says, because that's how Bowles is. And that's huge because I think we're going to need Devin Smith versus the Eagles. So again, that was his press conference that he did yesterday. Those are some of the main notes I got out of that. Guys, I'm really impressed with Todd Bowles. Like I said, it's just such a breath of fresh air compared to Rex Ryan, and hyping things up, coming out flat, and just coming out like I told you so stuff. And we have it just feels so good. It just does. I love it. I'm liking what Chan Gailey's doing. I was a little apprehensive about Chan Gailey when we signed him and stuff, and now it's just nice. It's nice to see that we have someone that has a clue about the offense, and I'm loving it, man. And I predicted a 2-2 into the bye. I honestly think that when you look at the schedule, I looked at the Cleveland game as a win, and I looked at either Philly or the Dolphins game as a win. But now we get this win against Indianapolis, which, I wasn't going to say, I didn't think that we were going to lose this game when the season came out, but a 2-2 record was very modest with the Philly and the Dolphins, and then, possibly lost to Indy. But we had the blueprint to win. They were exposed. We saw them the last 2 games they played against New England in the AFC Championship game, and then Buffalo the week before. And our defense is much better than New England's is, and just as good as Buffalo. And we were able to come out and really, really put it on them and show them what was it. And we said, hit luck, hit luck, hit luck, hit luck. And the Jets hit luck. And they did a great job doing it. Put him in the dirt. He did not want to play anymore. You get to that point where I remember playing in high school ball and middle school ball and shit like that. It's like, hit that guy until he doesn't want to get hit anymore. And those guys did not want to get hit anymore. Frank Gore did not want the ball anymore. He didn't want to get hit by Demario Davis and David Hitman Harris. He didn't want that. And then here you go. And you got a big snacks putting you in the dirt. I mean, Gore's giving up snaps to Tyler Varga and Josh Robinson or Thomas Robinson, whatever the hell his name is, 2 rookies that, deserve to never touch the ball if Frank Gore's in the game. I mean, the receivers come over middle with alligator arms. They wanted nothing to do with us at all. They wanted off that field, out of that game, tail between the legs, go home crying type deal. And I don't even know what the hell's going with the Colts, and I don't care because the Jets won. We went to 2-0, and it's awesome. And I got this knock-knock joke I heard yesterday, so pretend you guys are on the line. Hey, Colts fans, knock-knock. Who's there? Owen. Owen who? 0-2. You guys get that, right? I love it. Share that with your Giants fans, huh? Because I don't think they won either yet. But, all right, guys, so we're moving right on now. We have a big game coming up versus the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to be coming up to MetLife, in their very, very long travel trip to MetLife from Philly for a 1 o'clock game. Guys, the Philly is playing like shit right now. They are absolutely terrible looking. I cannot believe it because I have DeMarco Murray in a couple of leagues, Zach Ertz. I really thought they'd be a dynamic offense, and they just look lost, man. It looks like, Sam Bradford is just not very good at football, it looks like, and he looks like a punter to me. He looks like a guy his helmet's way too big. His shoulders are way too small. Guy has no definition. He looks like a freaking kicker or a punter to me. And no disrespect to the kickers and punters, but, this guy looks like he cannot take a hit. And we're really going to see that this week. He looks freaking lost. DeMarco Murray is on pace for like 250 rushing yards for the year. And this is the guy who led the league in attempts and rushing last year. I don't get it. I've passed this comment in the past. Is Chip Kelly a genius or an idiot? And I think it's a lot of both, and I really think he screwed himself by getting rid of a lot of key players here. I'm not talking about Shady McCoy and stuff like that. I'm talking about more like Evan Mathis and some of his offensive linemen and some of his defensive linemen that and just getting some other guys that he thinks are good, but they're not. And the Eagles are playing very poor. They're very, very bad. They look abysmal. But I'm telling you right now, this is one of those games that would have went either way before the season starts, and it's a super winnable game with the way the Jets are playing and the way the Philly is playing. I mean, I am expecting the Jets to come out. I'm just telling you right now, I predict the Jets to go 3-0. I'm not predicting a score. Not very good at one of those things, but with point spreads and shit. But the Jets are going to win this game. And we just want it more. You can see Philly is lost, but I'll tell you what, man, it's almost turning into a trap game how bad Philly's playing and how good the Jets are playing and how all of us Jet fans and the Jets players themselves just think that we're going to come in here and roll this team. So it's almost turning into a trap game where the Jets still have to do their homework, put in the work, and come out and play hard to beat this team. Because Chip Kelly and that offense is on overtime right now. They're working very hard to fix those offensive problems, and their defense coordinator is doing the same thing with their defense. I mean, they went out and signed Byron Maxwell from Seattle. The guy is having arguably the worst possible 2 games you can ever have as a defensive player. He's been burnt on a regular basis. I mean, like, terrible burnt. Looks like a piece of toast out there. And he has just as hard of a task this week with Brandon Marshall. And the way Maxwell's been playing, Brandon Marshall, I'm expecting like freaking 10 catches for like 150 yards and like 2 touchdowns the way this guy's going, because he cannot be stopped. He cannot, and Byron Maxwell's not going to stop him. So they're just going to force feed him the ball until he's covered with like double and triple coverage. And then you have all your other guys open. And I'll tell you what, if Devin Smith is available in this game and does play, which I think he does, you look for him to get open deep and some attempts thrown to him. I'm telling you now. And I'm telling you, this is the biggest thing. This is why I think we win this game, because their offensive line is not very good. Better than the Colts, but not very good. And we put pressure on Andrew Luck all day long. Again, no sacks, pressure, rushes, hits, put him in the dirt, places that quarterbacks don't want to be. And it's going to be an outside game. You're going to see the Jets are going to be in a whiteout. So if you guys are going to the game, all white jerseys, put your white pants on. and I mean, it's a whiteout. They're going to be all white, and you're going to see Sam Bradford, and he's going to be dirty because he cannot take a hit. Like I say, he looks like a kicker. Looks like a little girl out there in a uniform, and he's not Andrew Luck. He doesn't have those big shoulders. He's not a big athletic dude, and he's not going to be able to take these hits. And I honestly think that if he struggles, or if he gets hurt because of our defense, the pounding they're going to put on him, we're going to see a little bit of Mark Sanchez. And I honestly think that the way Sam Bradford's playing right now, that Mark Sanchez is the scarier quarterback to be playing because he's got nothing to lose. And I think Chip Kelly's going to have a short leash on Bradford because, again, the Philly fans and the Philly team was probably looking at this game as a New York Jets side and going, that's a winnable game for us. But now the tides have completely turned, and the Jets are playing the better football right now, and hopefully we continue to it. So again, do I think it's a trap game? I think it's turning into a trap game because of the way the Jets are playing versus the Eagles. But we still need to come out. Guys, this is not an easy win. It's not going to be easy the entire time. Like, no win in the NFL is. And that's what's great about the NFL compared to, like, any other sport. Anybody can be anybody. Look at Seattle's 0-2. Guys are 1-1. Look, survivor pools everywhere this past week got burnt from all these teams that should have won but didn't win. Jacksonville's coming to play. Comes out and beats Miami, which was awesome for us, but Jacksonville came to play because we got to play them later on in the year also. So everybody's coming to play, man. These rosters are built good. These athletes are just better. But this is a winnable game, like I said. I think the Jets go to 3-0. I think we go into London in a neutral setting, even though it's a Miami home game, with a real opportunity to go into the bye week at 4-0. Enter the bye week, get healthy, get our boy Sheldon back, maybe get Milner back, get these nicks and bumps and bruises and stuff like that, get Ivory, reacclimated, maybe see what's up with Stephen Ridley. I think in this game also, this Philly game, I think we, even though Zach Stacy was activated last game, he didn't see a snap, I don't believe, but I think he played some special teams. I think he's a little more active in this game because Ivory is sore. He had a groin injury going into the Colts game, played the entire game, still had, like I said, 14 rushing attempts, a handful of catches, and not to mention the pounding that he took, from that defensive line who played very well, like we said, in the way he runs, and see what happens, and maybe get Zach Stacy the ball a little bit here to run the clock out at the end, Powell, because Powell did have that fumble, which is his first fumble ever, which is, not like him, obviously, with his first fumble ever. But, and we start seeing some things, and we start opening the playbook a little more as we get more comfortable with it. But, again, Jets, I think we're, 2-0 right now, undefeated. It feels so good. It feels so good to say that. I'm walking around with my shit on. It's tattooed on my arm. I don't hide that I'm a Jet fan, but it just feels good to kind of put it out there, puff my chest out, and you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So, guys, this is Chili the Beast from New York Jets Life Podcast. Thank you for listening. New listeners, old listeners, returning listeners, please share with your friends so we get some new listeners. We're breaking records every single week, guys. Every single week we got more and more listeners, so thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being a part of this. I have a lot of fun doing this. I want to continue it. So, guys, like us on Facebook at New York Jets Life, Twitter, JetsLife_. Also, we are a website, www.newyorkjetslife.com. You can find our blog posts written by Steve Trubner. Trubner writes some really good blog posts all the time. They're on there. Read those. They're really good, short read, quick read while you're at a stoplight or something, or in a doctor's office. And all of our podcasts are on there. Guys, also, thank you for tuning into Rabble.tv. We did the live broadcast, the color commentary, the play-by-play of our New York Jets on Monday Night Football against the Indianapolis Colts, and I'll tell you what, man, I had a ton of fun doing it. I talked to the owner of it. The guy is super cool. He's such a great idea. And we're going to most likely be doing the Jets versus Dolphins game at 9:30 a.m. in London in 2 weeks again. And I'm looking very much forward to doing this, and I cannot wait for it. Honestly, it is a blast. I couldn't believe it. You guys, mute John Gruden, mute Chris Collinsworth, mute Phil Simms, Rich Gann, whoever's doing these one-sided bias, never on the Jets side broadcasts, and listen to me. Listen to a true fan. Listen to Chili talk about his New York Jets. I mean, I know much more than these douchebags do. They pick up the paper the day before, they read some names off, they mispronounce everything, they have no clue what they're talking about. But you listen to me, and I'll give you the play-by-play and everything like that. It's good. And when those commercials are on, you bullshit, text me, shoot me a tweet and everything like that. There's a conversation page on Rabble that everybody was on. We were on conversing back and forth. Jet fans conversing back and forth, commenting on this and that, good plays, bad plays, what we need to do. And it's just a big society. We're bringing everybody together, man. It's social media. It's so cool. So, guys, if you don't know anything about it, it's Rabble.tv, and you can find them on Twitter at Rabble.tv, and you can listen to our previous the game, the Monday night game. You can listen to it. We had some technical difficulties at the end, and we apologize for that. But guys, we're getting the bugs worked out. We're getting the kinks worked out of it. We've never done it before, and we're gonna keep rolling with it. And whenever we're able to get a broadcast like that, we're gonna continue to do it. If you guys liked it, tell us you liked it. If you didn't, tell us why and how we can improve it. Guys, we're all about you. We are fans like you, by fans, for fans. So, I'm a fan just like you guys. I got my green and white shorts on right now. I got the Jets tattoo on my arm. Possibly maybe go get another one soon. Hey, why not? And then, I'm just like you guys. So if you have any things that you want to improve, we should improve, let us know. For that, I am Chili the Beast, JETS, Jets, hashtag Beat Philly.